Did a seminar about 2 weeks ago at Orlando Convention Center, and the topic basically was how you find your true purpose in life, how you find your meaning. What is your meaning for your existence on this planet? And after I got done, which was really interesting, I had a young lady walk up to me and she said, "I've never been able to find my true purpose. I don't know what I want to do." And I looked at her and I said, "Yes, you do. You do know what you want to do. It's either only really two reasons why you're not doing what you want to do. It's either out of fear or out of necessity." Okay, and those two things kind of run hand in hand. And so fear will hold us back a lot of times. So, well, you might be thinking about doing something that's really kind of out there. Like, oh, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a rock star. I want to be things that they're really not practical in what they say the real world is. But if that's what you want to do and that's your passion, go for it. Okay. So fear holds a lot of people back because of that reason. But one way to really kind of discover what your purpose is, okay, is to keep moving forward, and keep moving forward as in, if you're not working, just get a regular job. Get a menial job. I don't care if it's working in a supermarket, if it's doing retail, if it's doing sales, just a basic job. If you get a basic job, while you're doing that job, believe it or not, your mind in the background will be working on and will be nudging you, and every once in a while it'll pop into your head while you're at work. Say, "I don't belong here. This is not me. This is not what I want to do. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing with my life." And all of a sudden, things will blossom, and things will start, and your mind will start saying, "That's what you want to do. I want to be this. I want to do that." And so then you will start thinking, why am I working here? Am I wasting my time? Well, you're not wasting your time, because it helped you develop or understand or bring that to the surface of your consciousness. Okay, now you know that's what I want to do, and don't be fearful of wanting to do that. Don't be fearful of stepping in to do that. Okay, so you can play it partially safe and saying, well, I'm going to maintain my regular job, but I'm going to work on what my passion is. Okay. And so your passion or your purpose or the meaning for you in your life and what you want to do will come through that. Okay. So yeah, when she walked up to me and said, "I don't know what I want to do with my life," she does know. We all know what we want to do with our life. We just might not know how to do it, or how to get there, or how to achieve that. And we get that confused with, "I don't know what I want to do with my life." But we all do. We all, if you sit down in a quiet place, okay, I talked about a job, that's fine. But if you even sit down in a very quiet space, okay, and I talk about this in my book. I talk about common point immersion a lot. I talk about focus point a lot in my book. So if you take the time to sit down every day, just take 30 minutes of quiet time. And I'm not asking you to meditate. I'm asking you to immerse yourself and think about what you want to do. All right. Put that in your mind's eye. Just think about what you want to do. Let me step back for a second. The difference between meditation and common point immersion is this. Meditation is when you just kind of quiet your mind, you shut everything off, you relax your body, and you focus on that process, which I understand is pretty cool, all right? But common point immersion is about you pinpointing a certain thing and immersing yourself into that particular thing, okay? So now as I was saying earlier, we were talking about how to find your purpose at this seminar. So if you spend time every day and you concentrate on that purpose, okay, I want to be a songwriter. I want to be a teacher. I want to be an attorney. I don't know what I want to be. okay? But if you keep focusing on that process, just spend some time each day. It can be 15 minutes, it can be 20 minutes, and just quiet your mind and just let your mind work on its own. Don't try to control your own mind, okay? Let your mind work on its own. And eventually, that will start to nag at you or start to push you or start to suggest to you, this is what I want to do. And then if you do that enough times, you will break through that fear. You'll break through that wall of fear that's been conditioned to you when you were younger. As you grew up, people would say, oh, you can't do that, okay? Here's a good example. When I was younger, I was, 11, 12, 13 years old. I wanted to play music. I was a drummer. I had a drum set in my room, and I'd go in there and I'd play drums for hours. My dad would bang in the door and say, shut up. You're driving me nuts. But my passion was music. I wanted to be in music. I wanted to be famous something in music, either as a writer or a composer. I wanted to do all these things. And I did it. I didn't do it the way I thought I was going to do it, but I did it. But I did it because I eventually had to break out of the fear that was instilled in me by my dad. My dad said, you can't do that. You're not good enough for that. You need to stay with the family business. You need to be mundane. You need to be average. You need to be apropos. You need to be like everybody else. But nobody is like everybody else. We are all individuals. We are all unique. We are all special. We all have special talents. And when somebody or something or anything suppresses that, then you go, I don't know what I want to do. That's the reason you say that to yourself. You say that to yourself, I don't know what I want to do. Because somewhere along the line, as you were growing up, somebody said, you can't do that. You can't think that way. You can't be that way. It's bull. Okay, it's all BS. Don't just take all that crap and throw it out of your mind. Because you can be anything you want to be. You can be anyone you want to be. You can be anything you want to be. The sky's the limit. As long as you are alive and you're breathing and you're thinking, the wherewithal will come to you if your desires are there. Just focus on what you want. So back to my seminar, this is a lot of what I talk about in my seminar, but this young lady came up to me, she says, I'm so confused, I don't know what I want to be. And I sat down with her and I said, okay, the hall was emptying out. I guess we had maybe, almost 1,000 people. It was a lot. It was a big deal. And the hall was emptying out. I said, I'm going to spend some time with this one person. And I told her, I said, listen, let everything clear out. I will come back and we will sit down and we will talk. And she goes, really? I said, yeah. She goes, okay. I said, just me and you, one-on-one. We're going to work on this, okay? And so after everything was cleared out, the tables are empty, the room, the convention area was quiet. She sat there at the banquet table. I sat there at the banquet table, and I said, what do you want to do? She said, I don't know. I said, think back when you were a little kid. Think back when you were 10, 11, or 12 years old. What did you want to do? And she says, I wanted to be an airline stewardess. And I said, how come you're not that? She goes, I don't know. I ended up working in a retail most of my life, and now I'm in my 30s. And, I don't know. I said, somewhere along the line, in the back of your mind, somebody had imprinted in the back of your mind that you can't be that you're not good. They may have said you're not pretty enough, or you're not smart enough, or you're not, whatever the case would be, for those criteria to be an airline stewardess. And she says, well, I said, you can be anything you want. If you want to be an airline stewardess, be an airline stewardess. There's no exact criteria for that. You know what I'm saying? And the other thing that you got to realize, even if we get older and there's certain careers that we might not be as good at as we get older, you can still be in something associated with that, you know? Maybe work for airlines, maybe be a travel agent, She says, oh, that's kind of cool. Well, that's sort of related to what you wanted to do. You're involved with the same industry. She says, a travel agency sounds really cool. And I said, well, do it. Where do I start? I said, just find a travel agent and start working for them and grow from there. She goes, that's just amazing. How did you know that? I said, I don't, it's not what I know. It's what I'm taking from you and I'm putting back to you. I'm just saying, this is what you wanted to do when you were a little kid. One thing you also got to bear in mind is as we get older, our desires change as well. Like I was saying earlier in this video, I wanted to be a famous rock star when I was in my 20s and I was in the studio and I was going to LA and I was traveling with bands and I was playing drums. I was doing all the stuff. But because a lot of the stuff that was put in my head, a lot of the stuff that imprinted in me as a kid, negative things, I kept kiboshing my own career. I kept saying, well, you're not good enough. You can't, you got it, whatever. And so I might not have achieved exactly what I wanted, but I'm still out there. I've got my music out there. I still love my music. I still play my drums. I still play my guitar. I still do gigs, even though most of the time now I'm speaking. But I still hung on to my passion. So I know I'm talking fast, and like I said in the other video, I throw a lot at you. It's just who I am, and it's just how I do things. So when she left there, it was really interesting when I watched her walk out of that hall. She walked out stronger. She walked out confident. She walked out of that room physically looking different. And it's not, well, let me back up. It's not like a physical thing. It's like an essence. She just had this thing about her, like, damn, I know what I want to do. I've always known what I want to do, and I'm going to friggin' do it. And I'm going, great, go for it. One thing I want to add, if you go out there and you follow your passion and you follow what you believe your purpose is, and you don't succeed, it doesn't mean that's not your purpose. It means it might not be the direction you're taking is the proper way to achieve that purpose, okay? It's still hot in the studio. Oh my God. Anyway, people ask me about my coffee cups. That, get the glare off of it. And that's my logo. That's the Common Point logo for my company and for everything that I'm doing. And I'm going to make these available eventually if people want to buy them. A couple things I want to add to this video. You're not, like I've said it before, if you see me touch my nose or I'm sweating, all this stuff, and things aren't perfect in this video, I'm not about bringing you a flash, perfect, Hollywood type video. I'm about bringing you content that's going to maybe change your life and help your life. If I look a little tired or if I'm not quite right or something happens in the video, what I do is I go back and I look at the video before I post it. And I say, the meat and potatoes are there. The content in that video is there. It is something that somebody can latch onto and say, damn, he's making sense. I'm going to listen to this guy. I'm going to see if I can actually get motivated and listen to this guy. So that's the way it is. So back to my seminar. So I had a lot of people ask me during the seminar how did I discover what I wanted early on in life? I was really, really lucky because when I was really young, I was allowed to play. I was allowed to get into my fantasy world and jump from chair to chair with a spoon, making believe I was Elvis Presley singing songs. And so I always knew at a very early age what I wanted. The downside for me was, as I grew up into my tweens and into my early 20s, my father crushed my dreams. He would say, you can't do that. You can't do that. So it made me really confused on who I was and what I wanted. But I kept fighting back, and I eventually broke out of that, moved on and became an adult and did my own thing. So I talk more about my mom and my dad in my book, in the beginning of the book, beginning chapter, and they had a lot to do with who I am today and how I became who I am, okay? So to answer that question in this video, how do you find your purpose? Spend some time every day and write down some things you love to do. Write down some things you love, not necessarily want to do, but you love. Well, I love baseball, and I love sports. I love music. I love science. I love geography. I love travel. And then take it from there and start breaking it down to a simpler level. Okay, well, you love geography. Well, what kind of geography? Do you want to travel? Is that what you like, geography? You just like the visual part of geography? Or do you want to be a geologist? Do you want to go out and dig and do stuff like that? And just start breaking it all down to its common denominator, and then you're going to kind of go, oh, I like this more than I like this. Also, I want you to understand this. Back in my first video, Perception of Belief, that I put out a couple weeks ago, don't worry about the means to achieve what your purpose is. Okay? Don't worry about money and the means and the wherewithal. Don't get that into your head. Just focus on what you want to do. When you focus on your purpose, like I said, break it down, and this is my purpose. I want to be a geologist. I want to be a scientist. I want to be a doctor. Let's pick doctor. So you want to be a doctor. Break it down to its common. What kind of doctor? Do you want to be a cardiologist? A radiologist? Do you want to be a nurse? Do you want private practice? Family practice? Figure out to the finest detail again on what you want to do as a doctor. Don't worry about the means to become that. Like I said in the first video, once you discover and decide and really get a solid decision, this is what I'm going to do, that you will find the means. The means will come your way to become what your purpose is in life. Okay? That's pretty much it. It's not rocket science. It's not complicated. Thank you very much for coming and listening to my videos. I'm going to do more of these kind of videos. I'm going to try to cover a lot of the stuff that's in my book that will be out this coming year. I'm also going to try to put up some more instrumental videos about immersion. Okay? I talk about immersion in my book, but I want to do a short little thing about what common point immersion is. I'm going to do a video probably with one of my bunnies, and I'll show you how I do common point immersion with one of my bunnies. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that yet, but I'm going to do it. So if you are, let's say, walking in a park, and you sit in a bench, and you literally just look at a tree. The best thing to do is actually, if you're near a tree, touch the tree. And just Immerse yourself into the essence of that tree. Immerse yourself into the essence of the life of that tree. And you will eventually become one source. There's the tree's energy and there's your energy. And when you recognize that, that is immersion. Okay? You can do it with, when people bring pets to a hospital, like a cat or a dog, okay, let's say a dog, they use a lot of dogs, they bring them as helper pets to hospitals. That's immersion, okay? They're bringing that pet to that patient in the hospital, and that patient pets the dog or sees the dog or understands the dog. That energy, that essence from the dog, which I call source in my book, and I call source in the Common Point philosophy, that essence becomes one. You become one. That patient and that pet merge together and they become one source or one energy or one entity. And it has a lot of amazing healing properties, okay? People come out of the hospital and they feel better, and it uplifts their spirit. It uplifts their energy and their essence. That's what immersion is, and that's what the Common Point. That's a basic version, real basic version of Common Point immersion. Okay, so, and you can do it with anything. You can do it with your hand. You can literally just look at your hand and immerse into the veins and the fingers and the skin and the markings on your hand. You can sit there and you can study your hand. And if you do it long enough, you feel a little bit of a lift. You just kind of get this, oh yeah, you kind of feel that energy. And then that's the first level of Common Point immersion, when you feel that lift, that little lift. And you can take it to a whole other degree. I read about in my book, I talk in my book about Muhammad Ali a little bit, about he didn't realize what he was doing, but basically he was doing Common Point immersion. He would be in his dressing room, and he would say, it would be 20 or 30 minutes before his fight, and he would throw everybody out, even his trainer. He said, "Get out of here. I need to be alone." Okay. And he would just focus in his mind's eye. He would immerse in his mind's eye, and he would see the ring, and he would see his opponent. And he literally would see in his mind's eye when he was going to knock that guy out in a fight. And he would do it. He would go out there and he would do it. The majority of the time, he would do it. Because he would immerse completely into that thoughts process. So there's many, many, many different kinds of Common Point immersion, but I'm just giving you a few of them. And like I said, I'm going to share with you, hopefully soon, I have a pet bunny. I'm going to take Winston, and Winston and I are just going to sit here, and I'm going to share how I can immerse with Winston, and we become like one energy and one source. And you can see that lift. You can see that breakthrough that happens when you do that. I know, again, I'm throwing a lot at you, and sometimes, this is all BS. Sometimes, wow, that's amazing. It's up to you, what you think and how you think. But I want to let you know that I've spent a lot of years working on this, and my book has taken almost 20 years to complete. So I've done a lot of research, not just research on writing this topic, but internal research on myself, on what works and why it works or why it doesn't work. And I want to share it with you. So that's where we're at. Anyway, back to your purpose. Sit down, write out, fine-tune it, find your purpose. Remember, that number one thing that's keeping you from your purpose is fear. And when you break through that fear, your purpose will surface. It's going to go, oh yeah, I remember that now. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I've always wanted to do. Why am I not doing it? Why am I doing this BS job over here? Why am I doing this? Just when you have that breakthrough, when you immerse into that and that breakthrough comes, you go, that's what I want to do. That's who I am. That's who I am. Nobody can keep me from who I am. This is what I am supposed to be doing on this planet. Then do it. Just do it. Because I don't want you to live in regrets. I don't want you to look back a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now and go, damn it, why didn't I do that? And the scary thing is if you go fast forward into your future and you look back and say, why didn't I do that? And you start beating yourself up and you start living in guilt. And you go, why didn't I do that? Then it's very evident why you didn't do it. You were afraid to do it. But don't do that. Just don't do it. Just find your purpose. Discover your purpose. Accept your purpose. That's a better word in this whole video. That's a better word. Accept your purpose and become that. Okay? Accept your purpose and become it. And don't worry about the means. The means will come to you. I'm going to leave with that.